Listen, Jhene Aiko has touched down on Ebro in the morning. Rosenberg and Laura Styles. Give it up.
Hey. Jhene's here. Hi.
Let's get right to this music. Well, first, you and I, your birthday's March 16. My birthday's March 17. Piscean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The coolest people ever.
Do Pisces get along with other Pisces?
Pisces get along with everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody, really?
I mean, look, we may not like you, but we'll still be chill with you.
Yeah. Okay, real quick. Pisces get along with everybody?
Everybody.
We're adaptable. We adapt.
The two Pisces that I deal with the most are you and our assistant Jhene.
Okay.
Both of you often get along with nobody.
No, they don't like us.
Oh.
It's not that we don't. You know what I'm saying? It's
true.
different. They don't like us for several reasons. Talk about it, Jhene. They're jealous. Talk about it.
I think it's because people are confused by just how nice we are, and they're just like mad that we're happy. It's like,
none of this sounds like
they're
Ebro.
confused, like how we love ourselves.
Jhene, talk about our power though.
Our power,
our
is
energy,
how
we take over a room.
See?
I want to ask, getting started, how your name changed, because I talked about this when I saw you at Summer Jam.
Okay.
The first time I introduced you at St. John a few years ago, I said, "Who is this girl? She seems very popular. The kids all know who she is." I was unhip and old, as I still am, and they're like, "My name is Jhene Aiko," and I said, "Okay, I'm going to introduce you. How do you say it exactly? Jhene Aiko." So I was like, "All right, perfect."
So you're practicing on
I
the
go
side?
out there. I don't like to mess up people's name. I consider myself a good host. I don't like messing it up. So I go out there. I introduced her. Afterwards, she's like, "You're like the first person who's ever got my name exactly right." Time passes. Everyone starts calling her Jhene Aiko. I see her at Summer Jam. I'm like, Jhene Aiko. I remember. She goes, "No, it's Jhene Aiko now."
Okay, so here's the story.
I've changed.
A lot.
No. Okay, so do you know how like we say Tokyo, but the Japanese way to say is Tokyo. Like it's supposed to be 2 syllables. So one day I was just like, because all of my names have like a meaning, whatever. So I just wanted to compile them all, and I was just pulling them all up on like the baby name search or whatever. And then I looked and I'm like, okay, Aiko, like it's supposed to be 2 syllables. And then someone in my family explained to me that is the Japanese way to say it. You can say Aiko.
Right.
But
what is the word? What does it mean?
It means little loved one.
So cute. So you said all of your names. I know Jhene Aiko. And I know what is Chilombo?
Chilombo is
what
my
is
last name.
Okay.
Ifuru. Am I saying it right? Is that the African way to say it? Is my second middle name. So Aiko is my middle name. I have 2 middle names. Aiko and Ifuru.
So your whole life.
Chilombo is my last name.
Your whole life. Hold on. So your full name, by the way, is Jhene
Aiko Ifuru
Chilombo. Okay.
Yeah.
So your whole life you were going with Aiko. And your family was rocking with that too?
And I was kind of upset at like my mom, and my grandfather is like completely Japanese, but he's from Compton, so he didn't know.
The old Comptonese Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. So he, and no one ever corrected me, but I would hear, a lot of Japanese people with that name, and they would say Aiko, and I would just be like, oh, maybe, it's just.
To each his own.
It's kind of like, when someone has an accent and they say their name, like Mario says Mario, but it's like both of them are Mario is his name.
My real name is Ibrahim, right? That's my birth name, but it's really Ibrahim because it's Arabic, right? So, but obviously here I'm not Arabic and I don't speak Arabic, but
it's sort of like when I go to a Greek restaurant. I know the correct way to order is to say a hero, but I'm not going to be that guy because I'm a friggin' gringo. So I just like, can I get a gyro?
Can I get a gyro?
I know it's hero, but I say gyro.
You can't even go gyro.
I'm not saying gyro.
Don't act like you say gyro. You know you say gyro.
And
no,
when
I don't say gyro.
When you overpronounce properly, you know what you sound like?
A douche.
This one goes to a Mexican.
Oscar.
Can I, excuse me, Oscar, can I have the fajita, please? I'll have the fajita.
Yeah.
Con queso.
Because I'm Spanish, he says I always overpronounce my R's. But if the word is Spanish, I'm going to say it in Spanish.
Say the champion boxer's name.
Oscar de la Hoya.
It's Oscar, man.
It's Oscar, man. It's just friggin' Oscar de la Hoya.
Oscar de la
Jhene Aiko's here. She's got new material that's available for pre-order right now on iTunes.
Yep.
And what's it called?
Sold Out.
And this is about your soul being out, not like you sold out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Talk to us about, like, what is that about?
Yeah, it's a play on words, obviously. It tricks people into thinking I'm talking about something crazy, like I sold my soul.
So you're trolling a little bit here.
A little bit, because it's like interesting, and then reel the people in to just tell them some real life truth, some real shit.
So what is your real shit, though? What is your real life truth?
My real life truth is that love is everything, and loving yourself can really help with your day to day and how you deal with people, and pain and suffering is optional, and you can always look on the brighter side.
Straight hippie.
I mean, it's just,
that's not a bad thing, by the way.
I mean, yeah, hippie.
A lot of times that whole hippie thing, like, oh yeah, hippie, people kind of disregard. It's like
right.
They try to disregard you for being that, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
I think now though, when people say like hippie, like it's about like the fashion of it, or like the, you know, it's not really about
like hipster.
Yeah, exactly, but like hippies, like the whole movement, they were really like standing for that. They really believed in love.
Peace,
like exactly. And so I'm trying to put that in my music, and I don't think nowadays there's a lot of that, you know. It's all about drinking and smoking, and even though I like to do both of those too.
But were you always that person? Were you always the peace, love person?
I wasn't. Like when I was younger, like a kid, like elementary, I had a really bad temper, and I would like try to bully people because I was the youngest, and I felt like everyone always picked on me and
you
made
had to protect yourself.
Yeah, and I had
that
to
Mila J, she was a bastard, wasn't she?
It was really my brothers. It was really my brothers, because basically my sisters, when they were doing their stuff, and me and my brothers were together a lot of the time, so they were beating me up, and I have like mostly boy cousins, so they would pick on me, and I was just always the girl that was trying to like do whatever they were doing but getting like beat up. And so I would go to school and, you know, like pick on my friends and like try to be the leader with my friends or whatever. And then I just had a bad temper, and I didn't have any patience, and I don't know, I think in the 7th grade I asked my mom to be homeschooled, or like independent study where you go once a week, just because the social part of school was like confusing to me for some reason, because I really liked schoolwork, but I was like drinking, I was like bringing alcohol to school, like I was
in 7th grade. You were already wilding out.
7th grade, exactly. So I told my mom, I intervened on myself, and I was like, this isn't going good. Like I was like, you know, I can see this going, if I stay in this environment, like I probably won't be focused on schoolwork.
That's an oddly perceptive way to be at 13 years old.
It.
That's one thing I've always been, though. Ever since I was little, I've always just thought of, you know, how to improve, and just I've always been aware of myself and like my mistakes and all of that. So yeah.
So did you end up going? Did you do independent study?
I did.
So you left school on a regular? I left
school. I went on independent study in the 7th grade, and then I guess what will be considered like my 10th grade through 12th grade, I went to a community college to get like high school credit and college credit. And so that was like my high school. Community college was my high school.
Whoa, that's a really unique and not uncommon American experience. You didn't really have the traditional high school experience, essentially. You kind of skipped it.
Yeah, kind of. You know, my brother, who is 2 years older than me, I was like friends with all his friends. So I went to like his homecoming, and then I would go with them to parties, and their Sadie's Hawkins, I went, you know, with them. So I got to do all the fun stuff.
So you still have the social interaction.
And I had like tons of friends that were just still doing all the, you know, but I got to stay up late.
Yeah, but you were the cool kid. You were kind of a badass. You had liquor in 7th grade. You was probably smoking weed. Where you guys from? You're from Compton, right?
My grandfather is from Compton. My mom is from Compton.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up off of Slauson.
Okay, so what area is that technically?
Technically,
is that South Central?
No, it's like mid-city.
I consider it West LA, but when I say West LA to people, they say no. It's actually now considered Windsor Hills. Like literally this year.
That's some new gentrification name.
That sounds like the nice name.
We call it Slauson Hills because it's literally right at the top of Slauson, and then when you go down, then you get to Crenshaw, which is like literally.
So you was hanging out at the swap meet on Slauson.
Oh, of course.
You was being bad in the 7th grade.
No, but when I wasn't hanging out at the swap meet at that age, I was hanging out on Crenshaw and Adams.
which was
that was elementary times.
Laura, your response to that was?
You were hanging out at the car wash too?
Who knows? I was really smart, and I always did well in school, but I was sneaky and just like, I was the youngest, so I got away with a lot. My mom was dealing with all of my other siblings, so I was the one that was just like.
How many are you guys?
There's 5 with my mom and dad. Like, they had 5 together, and then my dad has 3.
But in your household,
it was 5. 5 of us, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you're very much a person who has a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other.
Yes.
You know, because it seemed like even in 7th grade, you were like, I want to do good in school. I want to party.
Yeah.
And then the angel was like, no, I don't want to be here anymore.
So that just means I'm balanced.
Yeah, there's good. It's
Pisces.
Pisces, exactly.
It all comes back around.
See?
Talk about it, my G.
Did you?
2 fish. One is going this way and the other is going that way, but they meet up.
In the middle. Is that balance?
Exactly.
And they perform the perfect cipher 360.
Are we going mathematics now?
Talk about it.
Oh my God.
It's deeper. It's deeper than rap.
Wait, it's deeper than rap. Now, when did you figure out that you should not have a temper and fight? Because looking at you, you are physically, you're sitting right next to you, your arms and hands are literally, you are like a miniature human being. You are
I'm
tiny,
like an ant.
You are like a tiny
I'm
creature.
like an ant, and they can like lift 10 times.
So
and
really,
I have mom strength because I pushed.
Oh my God, you have mom strength.
Mom strength is different.
Mom's strength is different. You can lift a car.
Probably.
If need
be. You can do amazing things once you
give
push
birth.
A human out of your
body. Your daughter, Jhene,
she wanted to say vagina real bad.
On your album, right?
She is.
What's the name of the song?
Promises.
And what's that about?
The song is about, it's sort of just like something I wanted to leave her, you know, if we're not together for whatever reason, just something she could always listen to even when she gets older. And it's just about, you know, letting her know that everything will be okay, even if I can't always be there. And then the second verse is to my brother who passed away 2 years ago. 2 years, yeah. And just like singing to him, letting him know that I'm okay and that I'll always, you know, he'll never have to worry about me. Yeah.
You have a tattoo. What's your tattoo dedicated to your brother?
Oh, I have his name.
His name.
Miyagi.
There's
What was his name?
Miyagi Ayo Hassani Chilumbo. I'm like.
Yo, can I just intervene here? Her inability to remember her
own
names and family names is
insanity.
amazing.
Amazing. It's confusing. It's very confusing.
They're like, names. Who
you guys have this, why aren't you smiling?
Yes.
You use that a lot. Like, I've seen it like in hashtags. What is that about?
Yeah. So during his treatment, he was on Twitter and he tweeted that one day. And he was like, you know, he was in pain and he was just going through chemo and all that. And he was just sort of like still positive and still like he was a jokester
and all that
a
pain.
Clown. Yeah, through all of that it was still like, okay, if I'm, you know, why aren't you smiling?
Right.
So that was one of his last tweets. I actually got it tattooed. It's supposed to look like the tweet, but it's kind of like really hard to get that small.
Well, your wrist is small
tiny.
and then the writing is small. It's just crazy.
But
I wanted it to be like true to like
what it was.
Life, like whatever. So yeah, so why aren't you smiling?
How old was your brother when he passed?
26. 26.
How are you? I went through my wife's brother passed away 3 years ago, so I watched that process very closely. And losing a sibling is, you know, an incredible challenge. You know, how do you feel like you're doing 2 years from that?
I think I'm doing pretty good. There's bad days and there's days where I understand. I really believe in energy, not dying. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like no one ever really dies. Nerd.
Pharrell, what up?
No, but yeah, I feel like that, and there's so many things that remind me of him, and that are just seeing how his energy is still alive. Like I can feel it still. So it's, you know, it's not as sad most of the time, but then of course I'm human, so there's times when I
you
miss
wish
certain
his
things.
physical presence.
Yeah, exactly.
You miss the physical presence, of course.
Exactly, but it's, you know, it happens. That's life. So.
In an epic moment of transition, in my brother-in-law's passing away, he was the person who told me about, at the time, 3.5 years ago, he said, there's this artist I'm in love with. He was 18. He was in college. He said, there's this artist I'm in love with. blah, blah, blah. Do you know him? His name's Donald Glover. He's a comedian. He's a rapper, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I never heard of this guy. Sounds great. And then he played me one of his songs. He played me Freaks and Geeks, I think, or something like that. And then Spencer passed away. So then I called Donald Glover through Questlove, who gave me his number, and I called him and I said, listen, my brother-in-law loved you. And I was like, so I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in. I could tell how he felt about you. And since then, him and I have, developed this really strong friendship. I know you and Donald are very close. He's a very interesting guy who I think is an amazing artist. Some people understand, some people don't fully understand, but tell the world a little bit about like your relationship and just thoughts on Donald generally.
So I met Donald right after I did Jimmy Kimmel for the first time with Big Sean, and we have the same publisher, and his close friend and business partner was really close friends with my brother.
Fam?
Really close friends with my brother.
Wait, this guy's name is Fam. Not like, yo, what's up, Fam?
That's his
name. When you meet him, he'll say, my name's Fam, like family. He says that to everyone. My name's Fam, like
yo,
family.
Fam, what up, Fam?
That's his
name.
name.
You can double Fam him?
Yes. You double Fam and it's real. It's all real.
Fam?
Shout out to Fam who watches all our stuff. Who's getting mad love in this interview and he watches it. Okay, so you knew.
So he basically set up that we would have dinner, but it was like after dinner, after Kimmel, everyone that was there came, whatever. So him and Fam came, we just met, talked about working together on music, and I needed a verse for Bed Piece, and no one was sending me verses back, and I was like, I actually have a song, yeah, we can work. And I wasn't really well versed in his music. But my sister, my oldest sister, Miyoko, she is a fan of Childish Gambino. So she was like, oh, yeah, So after that, after we worked together on that, and he was super just, willing to, understand the music, and he was so into it. And just his creative mind is something that I could respect. So, yeah, he directed my new video, The Pressure. I'm in his video that is not out yet. Telegraph.
Yeah, that's his next single.
That's the single. Yes. I don't even think the world knows that yet that she's in the video.
Oops.
But
no. He released cover art.
Oh, he did now?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's about Telegraph in the Bay Area. Telegraph.
Yeah.
It's about Oakland. It's songs that's Oakland. It's otherwise known as Oakland. That song.
Yeah. So yeah, we're cool. I think that we come up with really creative things together. He's an interesting mind. That's
people
why
think y'all date though.
We don't date.
Yeah, people think y'all are like an item.
Are you dating anyone right now?
Good job, guys. That was well done. That was a really. You see that segue they pulled on you?
Mine was so full of love. You have to give it to somebody sometimes.
Exactly.
Do you have a boyfriend right now?
Yeah.
You see anybody? Anyone we know?
Maybe.
I don't know who you know.
I don't know your friends.
That's a good one.
I don't know who you know, but it's not a celebrity. Anyway, I don't care about that. But no, people did link you. What was it? Donald Glover. There was a rumor.
Oh, Drake.
Drake was a rumor, which no. Never happened.
Nah.
But I think because of your persona, like the hippie persona and the love persona, like
free love, man.
Free love. And,
yeah. But loving people is different than being in love.
Right.
With
Talk about it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's easy for me to love a person because loving is understanding them, and understanding just means you're taking the time to really get to know them and listen to their stories and accept them. So it's easy to just be like, I love you. I love who you are.
What you represent.
What you represent, all of that. But to really say, I'm in love with you.
Different.
It's different. There's feelings involved.
Do you find that gets you in some trouble, though? Because I know young women who you love someone, and because you're beautiful and because you're talented, I'm sure dudes misconstrue that sometimes and think that maybe something
they're
else
like,
is there.
I love you. And you're like, I have love for you.
I don't love you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Let me tell you something, bro. All pretty girls have 6 times a year when they have to tell a guy they're not interested in them in that way. That's just part of life.
6 times a year.
6 times a year.
Where'd you come up with 6?
Every 60 days. This is all statistically. I've been working together over years. Approximately every
How
62.
often does it happen to you before you were
every
married?
64 days. Oh, for me, it was much more often than that.
So a woman told you
it happened to
every
me
30
40
days.
times a year. I profess my love, and a girl's like, "No, we're just friends." I'm like, "No, we text all the time." They're like, "Yeah, no."
I thought we were in love.
Text me a little bit less. Maybe I'd like you. I'm like, "Oh."
I don't think that's ever really happened to me though. Someone I love you, and I'm like, it's not like that. I've been
What about the face? What about the kiss turned down? What about the oh?
Oh yeah. I've done
What about the lean in into the?
And you're like,
Yeah, I've done that before.
Come on, that's classic.
Yeah, everybody.
Yo, my dream is to do that. I want to turn down one girl. I want to turn down one. You know what I really want? I want an artist to try to sleep her way to the top with me. That has never happened ever. I want to be like, you know, honey, do it the honest way.
You know.
You don't have to do this. It's never happened. So, meaning, I'm A, not good looking enough, and or not powerful enough. No reason to even try to sleep with me on either count.
Jhene, how did you link up with Drake? Like, how did you going on tour with him come about?
Okay, we met through Jazz Prince, who was like, I don't know. I met him on tour when I was like singing with. When I was on the Scream tour, when I was like 14.
Because a lot of people don't know that you was it not Marcus Houston, IMX, Immature. Wasn't Mila was involved in? She was like signed to them or something.
I wasn't in a group, but I was signed to Sony Epic.
Got it.
Which B2K was signed to.
Right.
And I opened up the Scream tour and I like hosted it when I was like 14.
That's awesome.
So
I didn't know that.
It was kind of a big deal.
That was at the time you were popping.
But anyway, I met Jazz like at one of the tours, at one of the shows, and then ever since then, like we were friends. And he ended up calling me he wanted me to work with him on the mixtape. I think So Far Gone, and I knew him from Degrassi because my boyfriend at the time, his little sister watched it, and I'm like, oh, the guy. They're like, yeah, he's a rapper now. I'm like, okay, cool, and they're like, yeah, he's actually good. So I went in. I was pregnant at the time, but I wasn't letting anyone know. And my friend Micah Powell, he came in to write for me because at the time I was just like, I wasn't really giving my energy into other people's music like that. I was, if it was like a feature, I was like, okay, like someone else can write it because I have to save the good stuff for myself.
Not mad.
That's how I was looking at it, but now I don't look at it like that. So in that session, he heard a song called July, and he decided to take the verses off and just leave my hook. And that went like viral, and it was like, oh, you collabed with Drake and blah, blah, blah. Then fast forward to him working on Nothing Was the Same. He DM'd me like, we should work on a song together, like for real. You know, since I see like you're really about, you know, he heard the mixtape and whatever. And yeah, we got in the studio, me, him, and 40 picked out a track. I took it home, wrote to it, sent it. Then he wrote to it, and then we all,
hit.
And then that call to go on tour.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing, like a random call. Like, so I was thinking, I was actually we were thinking about me opening, but it was like already openers and whatever. So he thought that it would be an even better idea to have me come out sort of like in the middle of the set, and it actually worked out to be a better look because it was like
it's the middle of Drake's set.
Exactly. So people are gonna be there, they're gonna listen. So yeah, it was cool.
So you're saying that you think it worked out better for you doing that than just opening up the Scream Fest?
Scream Tour.
The Scream Tour.
Fest. I mean, both were blessings.
Both were blessings,
of course. They were both fun. And I think that with like the Scream Tour, that got me used to like that type of thing where it was like people weren't there for me, you know, but it was like a lot of people, me winning over crowd type of thing.
Do you have friends in the industry to this day that you met when you were like 14 on the tour?
Yeah, Trey Songz. I met him before I even knew that he was like gonna be
Trey Songz.
Yeah, and he was vocal coaching, I think, with one of the producers I was working with, Troy Taylor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was he still bagging chicks when he wasn't famous?
He was, yeah.
Okay, good.
She laughs.
Good. I'm looking for you, Trey. I'm looking to see you slip.
I mean, like you say, you started at 14 was the first time I mean, when did you start in this industry? And Mila was already kind of moving around, right?
I was 12. I was 12 when I signed my deal, and then I turned 13 like a couple months after we signed the deal.
So, I mean, it's fast forward, how long ago was that? 10 years?
I'm 26.
So, yeah, it's 12
14 years,
ago.
13, 14 years.
That whole journey, right? I'm sure artists come up to you all the time, young girls who want to write. A lot of your writing is very poetic. People who are poets and things like that want this this lifestyle that you have, right? They want to tour and they want to sing and they want to share their story, right? So I'm sure you come across a lot of young women, young people who want to do it. What do you have to say to them about just kind of the amount of time and work that it takes to get, because you're just now, this is your first album. I mean, the first thing was considered a mixtape, but I mean, this is your first release 14 years after you started the process. Right. What do you have to say to them?
Patience, young grasshoppers. You have to be patient, and you have to be just your number one biggest believer. You know, you have to really believe in yourself and believe that this is the path that you're supposed to be on. I always tell people, like, you have to make sure you are actually doing it for the right reason, because if you're doing it just because you want to be famous or make money, like that, you know what I mean? Like, if I was doing it for those reasons, I would have gave up, got another gig. You know what I mean? I would have done something else. But yeah, you have to really love it and do it for the love, because you're gonna work hard at the things that you love, and hard work, eventually you'll see some type of, you know,
I mean, would
reward.
you agree with the statement that most of the real artists in music, the only way you can actually end up working with them is when you do it for the craft and for the art, because they're not, you know, the people who are out here really doing it, they're not in it for the money.
Right. I agree.
Remember what Ghostface said?
Talk about it.
We ain't just trying to hop in, hop right out real quick. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
We
do this.
We do this for the longevity. I feel what so.
Like I've always said, I'll be singing and writing even if I wasn't getting popular. You know, I would go to a lounge and sing, and that would be my, you know, go there Monday through Friday and do that and live off of the tips or whatever. Well, I have a daughter, so I would have to probably have another job on the side.
But still, you could do that at night afterwards. You could bartend there, and then afterwards you go.
But it's just something that I love to do, so I would always, you know, I'll always do it.
And I DJ'd at McDonald's, so if I go back to McDonald's, I could bring you in. We could be like a tandem.
Talk about it.
We could be like the Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince of McDonald's in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to get to before you get out of here too is I've noticed you don't do a lot of interviews. Like you're not somebody that I mean, you do a couple here and there, but you're not like every other week doing an interview.
Right.
Why is that? Is it because you would rather have the music speak for yourself, itself?
I mean, I think that it's about the music. I'm not like one of those artists that is like, what are you wearing and who are you dating type of thing. Just because I don't go to club, I'm just not out there like that. I like to keep it about the music. I don't know. Maybe.
Do the rumors bother you though? Does I saw a little annoyance in your face when not Drake's name came up, but the idea that you were with Drake.
It doesn't annoy me. It just gets like repetitive. Like, and I know that people are going to ask. Obviously, like he's super famous, and I worked with him, so that's gonna be a question I'm probably always going to get. But I don't get annoyed though. Like I understand, and it comes with the
territory.
Do you not like talking about clothes because you have to buy your clothes at Baby Gap because you're tiny?
Yo, she just cooked you so crazy.
She cooked me
you saw that
bad.
laugh?
She cooked me bad. She hit me with I got cooked. She's tiny. It's adorable.
I'm not into.
No, you're not into bullshit.
I'm into being comfortable, and it is really hard though. I have to go to the tailor a lot.
Oh, I was joking. You really do have to go to like special miniature places?
I don't have to go to miniature places.
Is the door smaller? Is the door like a tiny door that you go through?
Yo, that was the first time I heard her raise her voice.
No woman could ever be offended about being small. It's cute when a woman's small.
How about this? Girls who are small hate being small, and girls who are thick hate being thick.
Do you hate being small?
I don't hate being small, but I
prefer to be.
Would you add a few inches if you could?
No, I'm fine with my height. I would like to be a little.
How much weight would you put on if you could?
10 pounds.
Where would it go?
It's my butt. Duh.
Duh. What year is this?
It would be a 10 pound. I want a 10-pound butt on me. Imagine.
All ass.
Imagine.
Would you ever make that investment? Would you ever buy that?
I would buy a trainer to help me with squats.
And that's it. But never actually get plastic surgery and all that.
I would think that sitting down on it would be weird because I like to sit and lay a lot because I'm lazy. So
me too. I'm a big recliner. Always reclining.
So I don't know how that would work out.
Hey, by the way, if you got a fake ass, it would literally throw your hippie movement in the fucking toilet.
It would be so
I'd be like,
weird.
imagine her coming out in her like little kimono barefoot with this big, just straight ass sticking out. It would look crazy.
Well, you never know what squats could do.
You never know. You never know.
So
if you see that happen, it's squats.
Jhene Aiko, pick up the new material, sold out.
Sold out.
It's on sale next Tuesday.
Yep, 9/9.
And there's some features you have on there, yeah?
I have Cocaine 80s.
Okay.
And Common.
And that's it.
Simple. Yeah.
And your daughter.
And my daughter,
Yeah.
of course.
And what about production? Who's doing the music?
Production, Fisticuffs, who did majority of Sell Out, and my mixtape Selling Souls, No ID, Genius, and Key Wayne.
Dope. Dope.
Dope.
Yo, I like your lie, I like your vibe, I like your
Thank
energy.
you.
Good luck to you.
You.
I didn't know what to expect before this interview. I was like, yo, I wonder if she's like...
She's quite charming.
She's super
endearing.
easy to get along with.
I mean, Pisces, that's what we do.
All right, full circle. We full circle. Pisces, great.
Someone in my family explained to me that is the Japanese way to say it. You can say Aiko,
Right.
but the
What is the word? What does it mean?
It means little loved one.
So cute. So you said all of your names. I
Yeah.
know Jhene Aiko, and I know what is Chilombo?
Chilombo is
what
my
is that?
last name.
Okay.
Ifuru. Am I saying it right? Is that the African way to say it? Is my second middle name. So Aiko is my middle name. I have two middle names. Aiko and Ifuru.
So you're
Yes.
see her at Summer Jam. I'm like, Jhene Aiko. I remember. She goes, no, it's Jhene Aiko now.
Okay, so here's the story.
I've changed
A lot.
a lot.
No. Okay, so you know how like we say Tokyo, but the Japanese way to say is Tokyo. Like it's supposed to be two syllables. So one day I was just like, because all of my names have like a meaning, whatever. So I just wanted to compile them all, and I was just pulling them all up on like the baby name search or whatever. And then I looked and I'm like, okay, Aiko, like it's supposed to be two syllables. And then
Listen, Jhene Aiko has touched down on Ebro in the morning. Rosenberg and Laura Styles. Give it up.
Hey.
Jhene's here.
hi.
Let's get right to this music. Well, first, you and I, your birthday's March 16th.
16.
My birthday's March 17th.
So we're,
Piscean.
yeah,
know what I
we're
mean?
the coolest people ever.
Do
Talk
Pisces
about
get along with other Pisces?
Pisces get along with everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody, really?
I mean, look, we may not like you, but we'll still like be
We'll
chill
pretend.
with you. Yeah.
Okay, real quick. Pisces get along with everybody?
Everybody.
We are adaptable. We adapt.
The
to,
two Pisces that I deal with the most are you and Arsa Change, because I talked about this when I saw you at Summer Jam.
Okay.
The first time I introduced you at St. John's a few years ago, I said, who is this girl? She seems very popular. The kids all know who she is. I was unhip and old, as I still am. And they're like, my name is Jhene Aiko. And I said, okay, I'm going to introduce you. How do you say it exactly? Jhene Aiko. So I was like,
Yes.
all right, perfect.
So you're practicing on
I
the
go
side?
out there. I don't like to mess up people's name. I consider myself a good host. I don't like messing it up. So I go out there. I introduced her. Afterwards, she's like, you're like the first person who's ever got my name exactly right. Time passes. Everyone starts calling her Jhene Aiko. Assistant Trinae.
Okay.
Both of you often get along with nobody.
No, they don't like us.
Oh.
It's not that we
Yeah.
don't. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's
True.
different. They don't like us for several reasons. Talk about it, Jhene. They're jealous. Talk about it.
I think it's because people are confused by just how nice we are, and they're just like mad that we're happy. It's like,
None of this sounds like
they're
Ebro.
confused
Yeah,
like
Ebro.
how
Yo,
we love
Jhene,
ourselves.
Jhene, talk about our power though.
Our powers,
Our energy.
our energy,
How we take over a room.
how we take over a room.
See?
I want to ask, getting started, how your name